Sheridan Arkansas Podcast. I'm Heather, actually the host. I'm a senior at Sheridan High School.
This is Carter Lowry, junior at Sheridan High School.
And this is Mr. Jacob Palmer.
Hey, I'm Jacob Palmer. I am the secretary of the Sheridan School District Board of Education, and I believe that I'm here to discuss maybe the upcoming millage election.
Yes, so we're covering the special election held in November in Grant County, and one of the things that we are voting on against or for is millage. So what exactly are y'all trying to do with the millage in this upcoming election?
So we're not asking for a millage increase. We're asking for a millage extension of our current millage rate. Our current millage rate is 36 mills, which is actually one of the lowest of all the surrounding districts. So I want to make an important clarification here is we are not asking for a millage increase. It's a millage, it's a current extension of the current millage. So nobody's property taxes are going to go up if this passes in November.
What are the most urgent priorities for the school district that this funding would support?
So kind of the driving factor here is the Sheridan School District has been blessed with the opportunity to qualify for $11.5 million of state partnership funding through the state to help build a new East End Elementary School up there. We are currently going to build it near the middle school now. We own about, I think it's like 70 or 80 acres up there between Grace Church and the middle school, if everybody's familiar with that. And what we're wanting to do is build a new East End Elementary School campus. And the state has came in and basically said, look, your East End Elementary School, it's over 50 years old in some areas. It's beyond its viable use. And so there's certain metrics you can meet to qualify for this partnership funding, but age of a campus, enrollment, stuff like that. We've got a lot of growth in that north end of the district and East End, and so we need these upgraded facilities to account for that growth. And just the fact that it's old and unusable, we put a lot of money into fixing it up and maintenance and all that kind of stuff. So we need to build the new East End Elementary School campus. And so back to the question with the millage. The state was going to give us $11.5 million, but that's only part of the funding for the project. So to generate our portion of the project, we have to pass a millage extension, and it's like a bond issue. And I'm not going to go into all that, but we got to generate our portion of the funding to build this new elementary school campus. We have to have a millage extension of the current mill rate. Of 36. So it's not going up, it's just extending it.
Okay, I'm going to pass the questions off to Carter.
It's 11 years. I can't remember when it actually expires, but it's extended for 11 years. The current mill rate, like I said, not going up. That's a very important thing to...
Yeah. How was the proposed millage rate determined, and who was involved in that process?
Yeah, so the proposed millage rate, again, it's the proposed millage rate is an extension of the current mill rate. So it's what we said. I forgot when the last millage increase was. I think it was in 2015, 2016, 2017, somewhere in there, almost 10 years ago now. And we're just extending that current millage rate. So we're not actually, we didn't actually say, hey, we're going to increase it 3 or 4 points. It's going to stay the same. And we were able to keep it the same if we would extend it for 11 more years to generate our portion of the funding for the East End Elementary School campus.
What steps has the board taken to ensure fiscal responsibility with existing funds?
Yeah, so like I said, when we have to go build a new campus, a lot of times school districts will have to increase millages and stuff like that. But luckily, we've been able to partner with the state of Arkansas to have them pay for a good chunk of the project. I believe we will be meeting with construction management firms like Nabholt, stuff, other companies that actually build school campuses. We have interviews set later this month in October. I don't know when this episode is going to air, but it's in the end of October. We're going to be interviewing, I think, 5 different management firms. And we'll be able to ask them questions about, what their plans are, how much it's going to cost, and all that, and hopefully get the best bang for the taxpayer buck.
All right. Get the questions back to Heather for the next segment.
Okay. How would it's not an increase, Jesus. Will the millage support improvements in teachers' pay, classroom resources, or facilities?
It will mainly be facilities. Like I said, we're not only are we going to build a new East End Elementary School campus, we're also, like I said, we're going to do some renovations on bathrooms. We're going to upgrade signage. There should be some security upgrades, stuff of that nature. And then the East End Elementary School campus will also have a safe room. There's a law in the state of Arkansas now that basically says when you build a new campus or new infrastructure, whatever, for a school, you have to have a safe room. And that safe room will be big enough for not only the East End Elementary School kids, but also the East End Middle School kids as well, and staff. And so we'll be able to have a safe room up there in that portion of the district for our students and faculty to use. But it will mainly be facilities and all that. And of course, money is fungible too. So if we're able to spend money on these other things, hopefully we'll be able to also maybe look at different other stuff too, like teacher pay and all that.
Are any long-term plans tied to this funding that the community should be aware of?
Long-term plans. So we have. I would say they're not really long-term plans, but I mean this is not an overnight thing. When we get the funding, we're still going to have to. When you break ground on a school district, school campus, it's going to be 18 months, maybe 24 months before it's ready for students to go in. So I would say that's a pretty long-term plan. And there's some stuff we can do in the short term. I know we're also building a covered practice pavilion over there,
yes,
and that might be in the next question. I'm sorry if I jumped the gun on that, but it'll be over there by the field house now, towards Red Street there, on the west side over there, in that little practice field area now. It'll be like practice covered pavilion. So one of the things that we've ran into, and this is not a football thing, this is something that football, JRTC, band, anybody could be able to use. There's been several times where I've driven by in the parking lot in August, and the band's having to practice outside in the parking lot in 100-degree heat. I mean, that's not safe. Football gets wet bulbed out a lot. They don't get to practice as much sometimes as some of our rivals that have nicer facilities. And then I'll give you an example too, like soccer tryouts last spring. They had to cancel soccer practice because of the heat index, and it was just unsafe for players to be able to practice out there. But I think with the covered practice pavilion, you get in the shade, you get a little bit of a safer environment, and it allows other people to use it. And we have field days too for our Sheridan Elementary School. I'm sure y'all remember that whenever y'all were in when I was a kid, we did the field day up there at the high school track, and it was always towards the end of the year. It's kind of getting hot outside, but whenever you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds, you really gotta focus on keeping them out of the hot weather and all that, and they'll be able to utilize that for their field days.
Yeah, we don't want any of our little kids getting heat stroke, so that's actually a great thing.
Yeah, we don't.
What if we're on a field day?
I think the high school should get field days, if I'm being honest.
Maybe.
I'll see if I can pull some strings on that.
I need a break from my AP classes. So one of the biggest things I know with my family is they're thinking that we're raising the taxes, which you have touched on that. So how would the financial impact be on homeowners and taxpayers in our district?
Well, they're going to be paying the same, whether this passes or fails, they're going to be paying the same tax rate now as they would be if it passed or failed. It's not going to change anything.
So what outreach has been done to ensure the community understands the proposal?
Yeah, so our superintendent, Chad Pitts, he has done a phenomenal job. He's had 2 community meetings, I think, last week. We had one in East End and then one at the high school here in Sheridan. It was kind of a public forum. People that had questions, concerns, whatever they wanted to find out, they were able to come. He gave a presentation. They were able to ask him questions. Chad's put several things out, and with the assistance of our wonderful communications director, Andy Mayberry, has put several things out on social media, just kind of talking about the projects and all that. And I think he's answered a lot of questions. And I think when we first decided we were going to do this, I think we decided that transparency was paramount. Mm-hmm. And I think if you're going to ask people to do anything with taxes, I think transparency is definitely paramount. And so we've done a lot of community outreach, getting the message out there, getting our goals out there, what we're trying to accomplish, and how we're looking after the future of the district. So
I'm going to pass the questions off to Carter again for the final questions.
What opportunities will the public have to stay informed or involved in how the funds are used?
Yeah, so we're like I said, transparency is paramount, and we're putting it out there ahead of time. This is what we're doing with the money. They know when the voters go to the ballot box in November, they know what we're planning on doing with the funds. Like I said, we're not raising I can't hammer this enough. We are not raising taxes. We're keeping it the same. But when they go to the voter box, I'm hoping hopefully with all this community outreach that we've been doing, stuff we've been putting on social media, that they know what we're trying to do. The covered practice pavilion, obviously the East End Elementary School campus, increasing signage, renovations, all that kind of stuff. So they should have all the information out there to make a reliable vote if they believe this is a good thing for the district, and it is. Like I said, pass or fail, taxes are going to stay the same. It's not going to change.
All right. So for the final question I have here, if the proposal does not pass, what alternatives are being considered?
Well, if the proposal doesn't pass, we're going to be very devastated. So, like I said, we receive partnership funding from the state of Arkansas. for $11.5 million of partnership funding, and we can only use that if we build a new Easton Elementary School campus. If this doesn't pass, the state of Arkansas is going to move on to fund other much-needed projects in other districts, and the Sheridan taxpayers will have to probably in the future have to pay for a new Easton Elementary School campus, by raising an actual millage instead of just doing the extension. So I'll defer the rest of that to Chad Pitts. I'm sure he'll have a little bit better answer. But as far as I'm concerned, like I said, this really needs to pass. If this doesn't pass, we're going to be in the same boat, a little bit down the way, and we're not going to have the state to help us pay for the new campus. And I think with all the growth we're seeing in the East End side of the district, I think that it's paramount that this passes. And I think it will. I think the community's bought in on it.
I think it'll pass too, because if people hear this and have listened to y'all, for me it sounds amazing. I mean, it's not increasing taxes, it's helping out, find like a new East End who wouldn't want a new school for their kids, a safe room, renovations. Like, it all sounds amazing, and it's not increasing our taxes. So it's literally a win-win situation. You're not losing anything, essentially.
Right. All it's doing is extending it. People are, like I said, we've had this tax rate for about 10 years now, give or take, and I think people are used to it. And, I want to touch back on that a little bit. Sheridan's millage rate is 36. It's the lowest of any surrounding school district, and it's pretty low. I think it's almost lower than any other 6A school district other than maybe El Dorado, but they have Murphy Oil money, so it's a little bit different. But I'm in real estate too, so I look at a lot of these different tax rates for different school districts and all that, and everything is just astronomically high. And so I don't think that people understand how blessed we are to live in the Sheridan School District and have all these amazing facilities for just 36 mills. And I get it. Listen, I hate paying taxes. I paid mine yesterday. When you log on, you have to pay taxes on something that you already own outright is crazy. But it is a needed for society, and if you're going to have good schools and good communities, you have to have that. And so, but I think this is a slam dunk, and I really hope that it passes.
Well, thank you so much for being on our podcast. We're going to interview Chad Pitts next Tuesday, actually. He has gratefully also accepted our invitation. But you got back to us, instantly. I was in the same class, and I literally popped up to Coach Zach. I was like, all right, got an email back. I was, so ecstatic. Thank you so much for being on the Sheridan Arkansas Podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. Anytime that I can come out and try to explain what the taxpayers are going to be responsible for and what the district is doing, I think transparency is paramount, and anytime that I can help out and explain stuff that's going on in the community, I would love to. This is my home. This is y'all's home, and taxpayers are ultimately the ones that are paying for this, and they should have all the facts out in front of them. So anytime that I can help with that, I would love to. So feel free to have me back anytime soon.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have you back around November, January area for the next election coming up in March. So this is the Sheridan Arkansas Podcast. I'm Heather, actually the host.
I'm Carter Lowry.
And this was our guest.
I'm Jacob Palmer, Secretary of the Sheridan School District Board of Education, and thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it.
Sir.
Yeah, thank you for watching.